Sorry, it's just taking a second. Okay. So while we're at it, I wanted to have these monthly meetings and just put them in a open office format, office hours format. Yeah, just anyone can sort of come and discuss topics that are sort of coming up for their stages or whatever. And then I've just dumped a bunch of the recent stuff that I've seen or I've been working on around components and objects. And if any of those are of interest, we can also talk about those. So I'll just open up to the floor. Anyone interested at all in discussing anything in particular? I dropped in that point from Nadia there on the ad metric experience as well, just in case that was interesting for you, Nadia.
Yeah, at this point, we're just exploring, we're in exploration phase, working on some wireframes around improving the ad metric experience. So right now, it's very limited how users can add metrics to their metrics dashboards in GitLab. Mostly they do it by defining metrics in a YAML file in code. So we're just starting to work on a way to do it through the UI. It's possible to do it through the UI right now, but only for some of the dashboards. So most users can't even use this feature. So
Sorry,
stage where users can create a new panel. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, so we will have one single page where users can add a new panel to their dashboard. They can choose the visualization type. So it can be a chart, like a metric chart, or it can be also a text block. Maybe in the future, we'll allow users to like add an image or anything really, things like that. And you can set up alerts in the same place. So it's a very kind of rich page. We will have lots of different tabs. So if you have any ideas or see any overlap with the work that you're doing, feel free to comment on the issue. I'm sure there will be some overlap as we're working on a new layout like that.
For sure. I can. Oh, go on, Gabe.
I was just gonna say that's awesome. I happened to have a conversation with a Gartner analyst yesterday as a follow-up to the EAPT Magic Quadrant, and I asked him what some of the opportunities were, and among all the vendors that the vendors weren't doing a good job capitalizing on, that was a customer need. And one of the main things that came up in terms of an opportunity was the customizability of analytics and the ability to build whatever widgets, dashboards with whatever metrics you want from your value stream as a whole. Some that's going to be like ops related things, some that's going to be issue related things. But I think the more that we can work towards having like customizable reporting in GitLab, sort of like this, like how a BI tool works, the better we'll be in the long run. So this is a cool to see the first step there.
Awesome, that's good to hear.
Agreed. Yeah, this is something that'll come up definitely within the report object that we're working on. Actually configure and choose which metrics that we're interested in. So I think, yeah, it'd be good if we sort of align on this as we go. Another thing that we're hoping to do with our generic metrics API work within our stage group, I imagine, is have a library of accessible metrics as well. So potentially we could embed that into this experience and have like potentially search for existing things that have already been highlighted or something like that, I imagine. But that's further on down the line. Cool. Yeah, really cool work. And I'll see if I can I'll share this with John Mason and see if we can collaborate at some point as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Nice, great work. Here, hi Anna, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So we're working on the director level CI/CD group dashboard, name still pending. And we recently completed this issue that is related to identifying the GitLab UI components that we can reuse in this new dashboard for release management. So our goal is to, for now, for the MVC, not really build any new pajamas components, not restyle anything, just use whatever we can. So this is a list of potential components that we could use to our MVC, in our MVC for the CI/CD dashboard. So next up, it's ideation. I have a prototype on Figma is linked in the agenda, where I'm in a way experimenting with the UI, and then I have a bunch of questions that I need to, in a way, sync with designers. And I saw also your link here, Nick, about dashboards or MVC, is that there is right now multiple ways on a group level to show reporting, to show this data. And then if you zoom in on frame 7, you're gonna see a couple of examples of these dashboards. And the discussion we had in release management is that we are just, at this point, just really display the data in the UI and not really care so much about the layout, the look and feel, as long as that we can have the data. So allow users to have a dashboard. And then later, next steps, we're gonna think about customizing the dashboard and aligning the UI, and also seeing if we can make improvements to the UI components that we are reusing there. And then after the prototyping phase, I'm going to work on some user interviews. So I need to prepare, how do you call that? Sorry guys, it's lunchtime. My brain's a bit, the scenarios, sorry. The scenarios to validate with the users. So yeah, if there's any feedback specific related to the analytics component, I'll bring those insights back.
I'd love to sit in and shadow and take notes on the interviews if that's possible.
Awesome. I'm gonna take a note here.
I think that would be super useful for me as well. So
for sure, I'll send you an invite.
Great, thank you. Yeah, great work. I really loved the breakdown here, and I really loved how you started structuring the job story overview of the different sort of tasks and stuff that are required in order to sort of have this dashboard experience. And what I'm hoping to do is basically steal this idea completely and think about how we can create like a generalized dashboard, jobs to be done layer, and like the specific one for like the topics of interest. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know whether it'll be successful, but we'll explore and see what works.
Yeah, that's one of the topics, one of the discussion items within our team, is that if we can validate some of our assumptions related to dashboards right now, right, with this within release management, we can definitely reuse some of these ideas and in a way empower the team to implement these improvements across dashboards. So I'm very excited. Dashboards are always tricky, but yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It takes some time to get it into a steady state, but I think we'll all benefit from having a good dashboard framework. Cool. Any other comments on that one? Before I jump into this, I'm gonna just quickly jump to the bottom and show you that. Oh, what's going on there? That's not a very good one. Yeah, we've started to get a data visualization section fleshed out within Pajamas now, which is nice. And like we'll have an overview of just giving general principles for data visualization And then we'll have a number of like breakout charts. So charts right now is a single component, or documented as a single component. And what we're going to do is have individual pages now, because there's going to be multiple variants of each one of these charts. So we can sort of simplify the page and sort of make it more specific. So bar charts, column charts, heat maps, all that sort of stuff. And Jeremy's done this excellent work around data visualization colors as well, which I'm currently working with at the moment. Super. So I'll go to this one. So this is our DevOps reports category vision, and John Mason has recently created this and a number of like sub epics. Maybe you can do a little elevator pitch for the category vision, John Mason, if you're prepared, and then we can maybe dive into a couple of the epics to sort of show where we're investing our time at the moment.
Sure. Well, one thing that keeps coming up in conversations with customers about dashboards is that there's no single place to go. And we have persona specific dashboards in the product, one for security, we're working on one for compliance, there's one related to monitoring and so on. But oftentimes what I'm hearing is, look, I want to be able to remix. You've got charts all over the product. I want to be able to take one from over here and one from over here and have one place to go to tell a certain story. And that involves the idea of creating a metrics library to which product teams can contribute while they're on their way to building their own dashboard. And then we can use a general dashboard and report framework to provide a generalized dashboard that customers can use to remix, and then a generalized data exploration experience where, as long as you've defined the metric in the metrics library, you get the ability to drill down on a chart and to see the data table associated with it, and to embed that widget in an external site and do an CSV export, and all that stuff just winds up coming for free if we've done it sort of in a consistent way. So we've started this journey by providing a couple of ways to get metrics into the system. One of them is just by defining a query using the Insights query engine, so that it works with issues and MRs. And then the other is with this generic metrics API that allows you to just put any kind of arbitrary pre-calculated data in there. And so between those two poles, we'll add more options as time goes on and build this idea of a metrics library. So that's the pitch.
Super, thank you. So yeah, I think one thing that I wanted to highlight here was sort of, yeah, a lot of dashboards have come up quite a bit here. So we're starting to think about what like a sort of a baseline experience could be around dashboards, and the relationship between the big picture that we're trying to tell with a number of charts, and then the granular data sets underneath and the metrics underneath those charts, and how you actually get to constructing and remixing these dashboards, as John Mason has been talking about. This general framework is gonna take like a little bit of time to actually create. Yeah, the more experience and the more research that we can do or carry out, or I have access to, I can sort of take all in these different generalized use cases, understand different perspectives and perspectives and personas, and understand what can be generalized to these sorts of dashboards. And then ideally, other teams start to see that there's value in the stuff that we're creating, and they can start jumping on board and contributing as well. And that speeds up their workflow and provides a bit of consistency for the end user experience as well, is the general thinking there. So yeah, this is the defined vision, and yeah, really happy to sit in on Hayana's work as well, because that will definitely help to inform some of the stuff that's going in this.
One of the other things with the dashboard is the vision to have like generic dashboards, not just issues dashboards. I guess that the question is where, like, I think they're, based on the conversation with the analysts, being able to have a bunch of things in one view that span the entirety of GitLab and all the things that are happening across all of the different stages, right? In one sort of dashboard kind of data visualization view is kind of, and having that be 100% customizable in terms of like putting metrics, mashing metrics together and that sort of thing. And so I just, is that part of the vision for the dashboard or report pages?
That's exactly it. You know, we would have a conversation with someone about a particular kind of dashboard, like value stream, and all of a sudden they would say, but I also want to see test code coverage, and I want to see this other stuff that will tell me about my team. I want to see security severities over time, and so on, to help me get a picture of how my team is doing. So we're finding that there's a desire for kind of situational awareness to pull things from all over the product to tell one story. And it was really also evident in watching our team go through the value stream wave with Forrester and also Gartner, and briefings that we just had, to try to tell GitLab's story involved clicking on so many different pages, and there wasn't one page that sort of told the big story before you drilled into all the little ones. And it was really painful. And I've seen a lot of sellers in the field, they'll have to compile these big decks. When customers say, hey, tell me what you can do in terms of dashboards and analytics, they'll have this big deck that's like 10 places to go for metrics in the product. And it's pretty painful in the field.
Yep. All right, cool. Just making sure. I think that's amazing if that's that vision.
Yeah. So like in context dashboards are super valuable, in context metrics or reports or whatever, and then having the ability to have those all in one place as well as being in context is what we're going for. And this is sort of how we do it at the project level. And then I've outlined in a video a little bit about the steps that we need to take with the navigation to sort of scale as we get more dashboards. And I've sort of explained it in this video right here. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, that's basically what we're going for, what you asked for, Gabe.
For monitoring dashboards, there is now an issue. I'll have to find it and I'll drop it in the agenda. There's now an issue to have an ops dashboard that would include infrastructure and application monitoring metrics. So it's at this stage just an idea. So we're kind of just exploring this. But the idea is to have one big overview dashboard where you can get all the high-level information about the infrastructure, what are the different services running, where they're running, how they're doing. And then from that dashboard, you will be able to drill into kind of sub-pages for metrics, alerts, errors, things like that. Right now, we don't have this overview. Metrics, alerts, errors, traces, they're all separate places. Again, you have to go to many different places. So this is our current thinking. So we're also trying to kind of tie it all to one place. It's a lot of information, so we're trying to understand how granular we have to be with this overview dashboard, but we're trying to bring it all to one page to at least give some kind of high level overview and allow for drill down from there.
Yeah, that's exactly the sort of use case that we want to be working with as well. So if there's any issues that you're designing and exploring on, feel free to tag me. And if there's any research that you're doing as well, I'd love to sit in and shadow as well.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, that sounds really cool. So exciting that a lot of us are sort of having similar requirements in terms of user experience and gathering metrics. Okay, so these, I mean, all this stuff is just the components and the objects. It's all just a bunch of FYIs. You can read it. It's sort of stuff which is in progress and stuff that's done at the moment. Is there anything else that people want to cover at all? Or maybe there's the discussion around the layout thing that I posted this morning, list preview. I'll quickly share this. I don't know whether it's classes as data visualization, but I shared this with some people on Slack and also created an issue as well. But basically, the experience of going into issues, click the list, and then click here is all right if you're only interested in one issue. But if you're interested in looking at a multiple set of issues, things in the list, and just browsing through it, you want a bit more of like an email type experience where you get a preview of the issues and stuff that's going on. So where am I? My thinking here is it possible to create a list preview view? So we have lists as a view. We have boards potentially that as a view that could be extrapolated to merge requests and stuff. We have reports as a generalized view. We have dashboards hopefully soon as a generalized view. Can we create another generalized view, which is like a list preview view, which allows users to browse through list items and see a preview in there? And I can see this being applicable to dashboards. I can see this being applicable to reports. I can see this being applicable to issues. It basically just cuts out a bit of a step in between. And my thinking was there's a little bit of complication in this view around things with a sidebar. So issues and merge requests and stuff at the moment continue to have a sidebar. So potentially it'd be something that we could try out with reports or dashboards, since they don't really have sidebars at the moment.
I think I left a comment on here earlier this morning, and I like it a lot. I don't know if there's a similar issue for issues around, but I thought about this as a viable path. And I'd also like to get rid of the sidebar in issues as quickly as possible. So yeah, yeah, I think it's cool.
So I don't know how we'd go about actually like creating a generalized view for lists and list previews and stuff. But yeah, my thinking is, since reports doesn't have too much technical baggage to it, I imagine it potentially could be a good test bed for it. Thoughts from anyone who actually understands the technical side of it?
So for the reports, would the user still be able to view the report kind of in full screen, or can you collapse the sidebar?
Yeah, I suppose we could explore a number of options, but the idea is, yeah, somehow be able to collapse it, or somehow just be able to click into the page itself like you'd have with an issue. So you get this this issue list view. I imagine you could have like a toggle which says issue, like show issues list or show issue list preview. Mm-hmm. And then that gives you a number of different options. And then you could actually click into these as well as the preview to like see that in full page. Yeah. What does it really well is Dovetail, actually. If they don't have this, they have like these things right here, and then it pops up a modal, and the modal's really useful, but you can also just open it up normally as a page as well, which is sort of quite a nice interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In metrics dashboards, we have a painful problem right now with navigating the dashboards. So we're currently using a dropdown, the search dropdown, to allow our users to search through and choose dashboards, navigate from one dashboard to another. And it's just not enough, because many of our users will be dealing with like hundreds of dashboards. Our own infrastructure team has maybe 300 different dashboards. So the search component is, has to be pretty powerful. It has to be very easy to navigate through a very long list of dashboards to narrow down that list. And right now, we're also thinking of introducing folders. So then in this sidebar, it would be cool if we could have some type of file manager style interaction where you can kind of unfold or expand a folder and then choose dashboards in that folder. But I think a sidebar could work well for that, as long as we can collapse it, because it's also, so something like that. As long as we can collapse it, because it's also very important for our users to be able to see the dashboard full screen.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I totally agree.
This is exactly what we want as well. And yeah, if you look at the web IDE, there's also there's also a way of addressing it with the folder structures, which could potentially be used and copied.
Mm-hmm.
Super. Nice to know that we're interested in similar stuff. So yeah, thank you very much. I've rescheduled this next month to a time which is more suitable for our US contingent. So hopefully we get a better audience outside of Europe. And I appreciate John Mason and Gabe jumping on in what must be a pretty early time for you. So yeah, nice to see everyone, and have a good day. Ciao, ciao.